screw that. Hey everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Thanks for joining us. We have a few people online already for Labor Day, September 7th, for our webinar. Okay, so I just want to do an idle chit chat about Forex and CFDs. I'm going to be using, actually, I have to obviously share my screen. Just give me a second here. Give me a sec. Give me a yes or no that you could see my screen okay in the chat. That would be widely appreciated. Just type a yes if you could see my screen. Awesome. Thank you again, Daniel. Okay, so as I said before, we're now going to be, I've been using MotiveWave for a while, and the trade secret is fairly simple. I'm going to have to be bringing in people as they come in to the session here. Yep, hold on here. I have to put you on mute, Shahab. Okay, sorry about that. Just reduce the background noise. As I said, you're looking at MotiveWave. I am using this now and have been using it for, I don't know, about just over a year and a half. For a Forex, I don't do stocks as much. You can do crypto on this as well. Obviously, I put most of my time in crypto. But I just want to talk about my techniques with MotiveWave and what I'm doing that's been very, very accurate in forecasting things. So I just wanted to go over it with you and see what you think. And just want to talk about your views of the things I'm seeing here in MotiveWave. So right now what we're looking at is I do harmonic scans in MotiveWave. I have, this is all hooked up to Oanda. And what we could do is I could do harmonic scans on pretty well anything that looks pretty decent with an outlook that's really good. These are reliable indicators I've been testing with, and we get a score here of excellent and very good. I just focus on the excellent and very good. I just wanted to know what you guys think of how this looks, and you just let me know what you think. And we've got one of our regulars coming in, Boyd. Boyd, welcome. How you doing? Okay, so we're now using MotiveWave to go through the harmonic scan. This is proven to be fairly reliable in calls. So in here we've got our symbol, bar size, which I just use for scanning purposes. You could also use, I do shift between day view and 4-hour view. And as you can see here, I've got over 200 results. And then you get a score. And then you also get a pattern if it's a cipher, a Gartley, a shark, whatever. Personally, I don't really care about that. What I do care about is making sure that my target on the harmonic is higher than the current price. Now, one thing I've learned in trading is I'm not very good at shorting because there's something called short squeezes, which can happen a lot. I'm sure some of you may have gotten caught up in the short squeeze for both gold and silver a few weeks ago. So we can cover that topic as well. So I just focus on longs because longs are more predictable. What I do find, you can automate these type of outlook with MotiveWave if you want. But as I said, we're just here to talk about the assets and the instruments. So as I said before, I'm going to go through all the excellent ones. So what I'm looking for on a long side is to make sure that the target is higher than the current price. In our case here, we have a short here because obviously our target is lower than the current price. So I kind of bypass over that sort of stuff. As I said, if any of you have any comments, questions, just chime in anytime you want. I think we got everybody self-muted except one person. If not, I can unmute anybody that needs to get in. Just jump in the chat and I'll pause and we can go over this. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look for a long here. So again, we have a short here on the Canadian Swiss franc, sugar against the USD. Now, one thing I have always stressed is I don't like to trade through a retail Forex broker because you get cheated on. I always suggest to go through, obviously, a micro, if you can, of the real McCoy that you want to trade on the futures market with a real broker. One broker that MotiveWave works with is called Canon, which I'm pretty happy with. They're out of Berkeley or in LA area. So that's the broker I could recommend. Now here we have a long. This is our first long here. So I just want to get your view of this. So here we have this is what I'm really honestly confused about. Now you can see here at the bottom I can switch between whatever view I want, daily, 4 hours. So here we have our daily view. We have here our latest price here, nice big bar moving up, and we have a long because their target's higher than the current price. But question is right here for you: do you think that this will continue onwards, where the UK 100, which is again a CFD, will continue past this point? This is now participation at your end if you want to chime in. Let me know. I think it will because sometimes I just act on pure price. Here, when we do get these kind of moves up, I would think it would be a sign of good things, but from my perspective, there was an announcement between the Brits and the euro on some negotiation. I just right now I just read headlines. I don't go into details of it. Obviously, it was a good news for Britain, so the outlook is better for the British pound or for the British market here. Anybody agree with this outlook? Do you think this will stay ongoing? If not, I do think long term that the British economy will be better than most economies because I think when you come out of the Brexit deal, there's going to be a lot more positive for England because they've liberated themselves from the shackles of the EU and so on and so forth. So anybody have any views on that? Just you could type it up in the chat, or as I said, I can unmute you if you have any questions or anything on that. If not, I'll just gladly go on to the next one. So it's going to be a mix of both of CFDs and Forex. Here we have the 2-year, which is a short, which is quite odd. I do know later on we do have a long on the US 10-year Treasury. Here, I honestly I thought I have high hopes with the Chinese economy because this is if anything's going to lift us out of this is going to be China because they're the most advanced economy when it comes to recovery for the coronavirus, or that's what I was thinking. But in my case, it's not the case because obviously there's new cases rising globally, or is that around the world basically, and this is one of those shorts that kind of would make sense and continue to move on in the direction of this potential short on the CN50, which is again the China. And again, you will sometimes get a combination of these different instruments, CFDs or Forex, in which it will show kind of confirmation on the direction it will go, if it's a short or a long. So as I said, if you guys want to chime in, just let me know and I'll gladly pause and we can go over it. Okay, so let's look at the first one here is the Euro USD. Obviously, it's a short. I agree with this. Up until before the Federal Reserve conference last week, the US dollar has been tanking. And I think when you look at everything for gold, in my world, crypto, I will say that crypto and gold are dropping because of the direction of the US dollar. Now, leading up to the conference in Wyoming, Jackson Hole, the US dollar started to strengthen. And up until that point, it was dropping. That's why gold was going up, and also why crypto the volumes were up, and crypto overall was moving. So now we are post the conference with the Federal Reserve, and now I'm reading different articles saying, yes, the US dollar is going to go up, the US dollar is going to go down. I think the US dollar will continue to go down because, as I said, if you were to see a strength in the US dollar, you would see more of these Forex pairs in US dollar show longs. And I rarely see a long for anything in US dollar in terms of currency or Forex. I'll show you later on the ones that are longs, but they're very questionable. Again, chime in whenever you want. And again, we have the euro, Japanese yen. And another thing about this is the Japanese yen is supposed to be traditionally a safe haven. And today I'm seeing it take hold, but it's not proving itself long term. So that's a question I have. And again, if anybody has an opinion on that, let me know. Okay, so here's the first long that I know of is safe haven, regardless of the spread costs and all that. In these kind of cases, in safe havens, because this is what these are. Let's say the euro and Norwegian currency. This is definitely a safe haven play, because when you look at it, we have here a long, and this would make sense to me. This one with the U.S. Swiss franc is another long, um, but this is the first set a couple of days I'm actually seeing longs with the USD and the Swiss franc. So then that means that things are starting to play out normally as you would expect. I could talk about gold, because gold in these times should be moving up, but it's proven not to be. I think a lot of it has to do with the US dollar potentially in a decline. But when I look at these charts and I look at these harmonics, when I look at what's showing strength in terms of longs, it confirms that theory that um, a lot of investors worldwide do not have a lot of confidence in US dollars. That's why you're seeing more of these longs into alternative currencies. But this currency is definitely not an active currency pair you want to play in or trade in, Euro or Norwegian, because of the spread cost. But it's a good currency for a long term investment if you want to buy and hold. That's how I view on it. If anybody has a thought on that, let me know, because this is I'm starting to show you what I think, what is showing long-term investment for some slight uptick in long investments. We'll just call it that. So this is the first one I'd probably put some money in, is the Euro Norwegian. This one, the USD against the Swiss franc, I'm not so convinced yet, just due to the fact that you can see here there's some declines here, but it's not like a steady up move that I'd like to see in order to convince me. But anything with the Norwegian seems to move up, and there's a few of these that you'll see on the U.S. against the Norwegian, which shows a long-term, call it, it's really not, as I said, investment. It's really an investment for a long-term play. Another one that's I was hoping that would prove itself is the USD and Mexico peso. I'm not seeing that, but it's here. But I like to be convinced of it when I see certain calls. It's just been in a steady decline. So again, this is one of those coins where I'm not, or sorry, coins, forex pairs. I'm not really convinced yet. Um, Now we're getting into silver here, the different currencies. Again, you can see we have a short here. As I said, you guys could chime in whenever you want. Just chat or unmute yourself or whatever and just jump in. But here's the thing with these type of calls. We have silver here in different currencies, and most of them will show a short. But when you go through them, surprisingly, some of them show a potential long. I'm not sure if it's silver that does it or gold. But that's what I saw earlier. And again, things can change, but so far all I'm seeing are shorts. And I know this works convincingly because the Thursday, Friday when I did this, gold was still going up. But when I started looking at this late Friday afternoon, Monday, all the gold shorts started to set in, and this started to be really reliable. And that was about when the shorts start coming in gold and be a month ago. So this seems to have proven itself as a solid way to determine where things are going. So again, I'm seeing XAU here, gold in different currencies. But again, I'm looking for if the long, a few of these showed a long, but most so far they're all shorting. And sugar, last year sugar just went up crazy. and I was pretty surprised on how it went up. There was no news on it, but obviously it's not happening here because we have a short on it. And again, we have a 2-year bond. We got a short outlook, which would make sense, obviously, with the economy the way it is. Again, this is another way we can confirm our shorts and longs, because as I said, I've shown a previous long here for the UK 100 earlier on with this one, so I know short term this is the case because the market in the US, the FTSE was up as well today. So what happens tomorrow is another story, but that is definitely a news-driven event. Anybody got any questions or comments so far? If not, so far we could blow through this pretty fast. Continuing along, Taiwan. This one right here, I had high hopes in. I made a claim earlier. Well, actually, about a month ago, I said that Taiwan may prove to be the strongest stock market out there in the world. But so far, I'm definitely wrong on that. So we see a short here. Then we have the Australian Hong Kong dollar, another short. So there's a lot of shorts going on. With the Asian currencies, specifically the euro, the USD, are showing that. We even have Japan 225 showing a short. This one's kind of odd. The Australian market is up with a long in place. So from my perspective, this trying to build the logic around why this would happen. I haven't really been keeping up to date with what's happening in Australia, but again, sometimes I'm just playing on pure price. And this is one of the ways and more lazier ways I've done it is using these harmonic scans. And this one's proving to be a long. Mind you, when you start looking at the Australian USD, and as I said, this is the first currency in US dollar. You can see it's a short. So there's not a lot of confidence here. And but you can see there's another long here on the USD in Swiss franc. So that's starting to strengthen as a long-term conviction. Same with the USD in Mexico peso. So I'm starting to feel good about these currency calls, and again on the Norwegian kroner. And I could tell they should be somewhat reliable. Question is, it long-term or short-term investment is based upon these excellent scores. So then you could start getting into the very good scores. So they're not as reliable, but you can start seeing that I've got a short on the Australian against the Japanese yen. That I think a lot of that has to do with China. As I said earlier, where China is a major play here. And a month ago, when China was starting to strengthen, manufacturing was starting to strengthen in China, up went the oil price, the Brent crude. And that started to prove itself throughout when China was starting to show some strength. But again, this is all dependent really on the coronavirus. And the oil, after, as I shown you earlier, for China, the manufacturing, oil price, Brent crude started to sink. I can show you that later. But there's no form of any long at all on Brent crude as well. So here we have a mixed kind of outlook for the Canadian Swiss franc. Again, we have a long, but knowing this exists, I don't think I'd put a lot of credence to it. As I said, I looked at Brent crude. You can see it's in decline. Going in here a week ago at whatever the price is there down to here. So, it's not a good thing. I'm also reading that there's an oversupply now of Saudi Arabia as well. So comments or questions always welcome here. And then we have here Germany shows weakness. That's the German 30. This one is a strange one. You ask, why is Germany down while overall the Euro 50 market is up with this long here? And then another one that looks pretty good is France, another long. And again, I don't read the reasons why this could happen. I mean, that's why maybe you guys might have some better insight on this. But Euro, the EU 50 as well as the France are doing well. But then when you look at Germany, it's not doing so hot because we got a short on that. So again, I'd have to do my research to figure that one out. So as I said earlier, we had the the U.S. 10-year bond Treasury. That's looking good. And again, this is kind of screwed up because of the market. I guess this drop here is when the um, Federal Reserve was having its conference. Things were looking good, and then we could hopefully expect to see the 10-year bond start to pick up again as a defense move. So here we are again with a short here for China, and this is not good because that's definitely probably driven by the coronavirus again. The Euro Canadian, that's pretty well flat. Let's see where this guy is right now. So this is definitely a short there. And the euro against the British pound, again, a long. This is where I get really confused. Because as I've shown you, we've got the UK showing strength for the UK markets. And now we have this euro against the British pound with a long as well. So call me confused. But I think that's because the coming down to the wire for the negotiations on the Brexit is probably driving that. If it with a positive outcome for England, I guess. So again, we have a nice defensive currency here, euro against the Norwegian. A lot of these Scandinavians look pretty good. A couple of weeks ago, if you asked me, the Swedish looked better than the Norwegian. So this can flip-flop between the two, between Sweden and Norway. But obviously today, this week, it's Norway. Tomorrow it could be back to Sweden. So you got to kind of keep your eyes and ears peeled out for that as well. Another one that's always pretty good is Denmark as well. So we got euro against Denmark, showing a pretty good long there. So again, these three are pretty convincing in terms of investments for long term because they all have a form of a long. And again, I can always determine and quantify that long prediction based upon the target price. So we have a short here, another short, and at one point I really did think that the Canadian dollar was going to be considered a safe haven. I've not seen that. Last week it showed signs of it, and now it's starting to show some decline. So so much for that. Here's what we should see: the USD against the Japanese yen. I would expect to see a long because of the economy's not doing too hot. With the pandemic, as well as the markets are down or have been down for the last partial last week as well. So this I would expect to see without a doubt. Okay, back to our Scandinavian. This time it's Denmark. We got a long in from U.S. dollar to Danish to the Denmark, so that's good. But euro just seems to have a better investment compared to the U.S. dollar. And again, we have silver, more shorts here. See, this is what I wanted to show you. We have here silver. So most of them I showed you were shorts. But here we are. Why, oh why, am I showing a short for certain silver and certain currencies, but yet here we are, it shows a long in Swiss franc. Is it because of the supply capacity in Switzerland? I don't know, but it's just that there are some signs of long setting in for silver. So that's a good thing. Will it continue? I don't know. I have to check tomorrow, but it's very mixed. It's a very mixed picture here, depending upon what currency. So you can see here we had euro and Swiss franc, but now we got a short in British pound. We have a short in New Zealand dollar. So there's something going on between these two currencies for silver. So silver in Swiss franc, silver and euro showing longs, but the other ones here are showing shorts. Another short. Here we have a gold in Australian, short, and again, short, a short in Canadian. All the gold shows shorts, okay, except the ones I just showed you in silver against Swiss franc and in the euro. But this is something to maybe take note. Here we can look at, let's say in euro, there's certain calls going out there where the short's not so deep as compared to other currencies. So that might be a way to maybe gauge how other currencies with gold in a particular currency. And I'm just trying to figure out that relationship. Just going to let somebody else in here. We got Igor coming in. Welcome, Igor. So this is a question I have to myself: is why are we seeing certain coins? Yeah, here it's gonna put. I think it's Igor. I'll have to put him on mute. Maybe want to self mute. I think it's Igor. Yeah. Oh, I'll just mute you. If you want to get unmuted, just let me know. But if anybody has any theory on this, why in silver certain currencies have all shorts, but yet in Swiss franc and in Europe it's a long. That is a really perplexing question. I'd like to know. If anybody's got an answer, I'd be very curious to know. Because continuing along, we got more shorts in gold, and this time in British pound. Okay, we have here in Hong Kong dollar, silver, gold and Japanese yen, New Zealand. I mean, it's really hard to gauge what would drive that question. Why would there be a long silver to against Swiss franc and silver against euro? There's a long, but everything else is a short. I just don't know. So you can see here, there's more short calls against New Zealand, Singapore, US dollar. Then we got some platinum here, more shorts. Back to our, here we could say there's a long, but in this case where we have a short with platinum and USD and a long in platinum USD, I would just consider that a washout, as it really is irrelevant. So here we've talked about the 10-year Treasury with a long here. So that would make sense. So here we have the Singapore dollar against the Swiss franc. This would make sense as an exchange, as a pair. Because these are both considered safe havens, obviously the Swiss franc being the bigger one, but that would make sense. So again, another one to consider. Singapore against Hong Kong dollar, got a short there. Brent crude, another short. Here, I know this one's going to do well. The USD against the Czech, against the Danish. Another long. Here's an interesting one. This is the Hungarian. So we have a short here. Don't ask me why. Again, we can say for sure we have convincingly that the USD and the Japanese yen has a long outlook. Here is another long outlook with the USD and Japanese yen. In Polish, zloty. This is the Saudi rial. See, we have a long here. These wicks are just pretty well crazy. I think there's just not enough volume in this pair. And then we continue along. USD in Singapore, a long, and another long for the South African rand. So there you go. Those are all the available. Very good. Those are the only two top scores I look at are excellent and very good. If anybody wants to ask any questions or anything, let me know. On the principles of this, just let me know if this sounds valid on these predictions. Anything, doesn't matter. Anybody out there? Got a couple of people online, but nobody wants to participate. I don't know. Anybody? So I can go through and put this up on my YouTube channel for anybody interested in this. If there's no comments or questions, I'm pretty well done. If anybody's got any other questions about Forex, crypto, automated trading, let me know. If not, I do appreciate you guys coming aboard. Anybody have any questions at all? I mean, we can just open up the chat and anything you want, really. Go ahead. Yeah, I hear you. No problem. Calls? No, this is all Motive Wave I'm doing. Motive Wave here at the top left is this trading platform, Motive Wave. That's the platform I use. So, pretty well. Not so much. I've had better success. What's that? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I took over this group now a couple of years now. I don't know the exact group, but this is through the meetup. Let's say 3 4 years in that neighborhood. Yeah. Not so much when okay. There's a difference between trading actively and passively. What I was talking about here, let's say this type of trade here, USD against the Norwegian. I would consider that an investment, not a trade. It's a passive trade, which this might be held for a week or so. If I was trying to actively trade it, you're not going to make money. But if you're gonna passively trade this or invest it, chances are, depending upon the economy, depending upon the U.S. dollar performance over the next, let's say, couple of days or a week or however long I want to hold this for, um, yeah, you can make money. But it depends on your conviction on these calls. What's the question that you're asking? I mean, because yeah, 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 and you're probably right because a lot. I mean, I've struggled for a long time trying to make money in forex, and there's a number of established reasons on why it's happening. One reason is over the last year, 2 years, uh, leverage like large, wide leverage has been taken away by regulators, like the 100 times, right? So what's happening, I'm finding from my perspective, is I've been working with crypto now for the last 2 years, and just in the last 2 3 weeks, I started finding a bot that actually makes money consistently. Making, I'd say I haven't done the actual average per day, but it can, like this. Like, I'll give you this stat. My crypto bot has made 10% over the last 7 days because it never closes, versus the S&P 500, which was down 2+% last week. So my bot has brought in 10% more than the S&P 500. So when you get those kind of stats, obviously that's where my focus is going to go. So from an automation standpoint, that's why I'm focusing more on crypto. And I thought, okay, why don't we bring in some of the folks here that have been part of the Forex group and talk about Forex? That's what we're doing here. So from what I'm seeing and talk to a lot of people, you're right. A lot of people are not making money in crypto, or sorry, in Forex. If they are, they're making little pittance amount of money because it's very hard to make money when you have a low leverage, right? So that's reason number one. Reason number two is a lot of the retail Forex brokers are cheating more and more. Like, I don't like to say it, but that's what's happening. If you're actively trading, if you're going out using MT4 or some other popular trading platform, trying to do it intraday, it's a really hard game. Okay, it's a hard game. I'm not gonna lie to you. And if anyone says otherwise, they're probably lying to you, or they're not. Even if they do make money, they're not gonna tell you. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing. That's what I've been seeing for the last year or so. And my philosophy with CFD and Forex, you can make money, but you cannot go in and try to actively trade it because it's very difficult. If you're trying to do scalping or anything, it's very difficult to make money without leverage. Okay, that's why I've been doing quite well with crypto because the extreme moves are there intraday, which they don't exist in Forex. So I can get a 10% move on a crypto coin in an hour or in 10 minutes even. So that happens more in crypto. So that's where most of my focus is in. And I'm also finding more and more people are moving into crypto because of that. And lately, if you, I don't know if you keep track of what's happening in crypto with the DeFi movement, that has opened up crypto immensely for like crazy returns. So more people are moving from Forex into crypto. That's what I'm seeing. So I know it's a long-winded answer, but does that answer somewhat your question? How long you been looking now for anybody who's making money in Forex? So you so 10 12 years. So 10 12 years. What you're telling me, you've not seen or experienced anyone that you've heard through or that has not made money in Forex at all. Is that what I'm hearing? Right. Yeah. No, I understand. Are you using leverage in your trading? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna show you a stat right here. So I'm on Yahoo Finance. Okay. So what I want to show you, I measure everything in percent. I don't look at pips. Once you start looking at pips versus other asset class, it gets very confusing. So I like to unify it all through through uh, through percent moves. Okay. So here's the moves right now of forex. So we got here euro against USD. Look at how much it's moved today. 0.02%, right? If I look at USD and Japanese yen, same amount of money has been moved. But when you look at Bitcoin, it's moved 0.9%, so it's moved 1%. This is why you're not making a lot of money in crypto in forex because the moves are so minuscule compared to Bitcoin, or even if you were to look at the markets themselves at 0.5% or 1%. Or if you look at the CMC crypto, which is an index for 200 different crypto coins, it's moved 3.14%. I mean, it's not in the right direction, but it's just to show you that the moves are much, much bigger. I'd say up to 100 times bigger than you have with Forex. This is one of the reasons why people are not making a lot of money in Forex because the moves, the daily moves are so minuscule for them to make it worthwhile. That's why the brokers want you to use crazy leverage to get the equivalent moves that you would with a Bitcoin or another crypto index, let's say, or even against another commodity at 1.3% or gold. Well, tiny move for gold today at 0.17, but it can move 0.5% or a full percent. But you never get that with, or it's very rare you get those kind of moves with forex. That's one of the problems with forex. See what I'm saying? I do. Well, I do, and that's why you always hear the term "trend is your friend." With crypto, see the hard part of if you I don't know how well are you at programming right now with anything? Are you a programmer? Okay, okay, that's fine. So if you're let's say even an intermediate programmer with Forex or just general, let's say Python for trading, you have an advantage. The problem is with with Forex generally, there's no indicator that you could take the entire all Forex pairs and have some kind of weighted average to measure the overall risk of Forex because each pair are so diverse from the other pair, it's very hard to find any form of correlationship between the two. And a lot of it's driven mostly by news or calendar events. Whereas if I show you part of my crypto here, um, right here, I don't know how well you know crypto, but I have 5 pairs of large crypto coins that I use. And these are the moves, okay, percent moves. And I'm able to gauge a weighted average over those 5 pairs of crypto coins like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Ethereum Classic. Okay, so I'm able to do an overall weighted average to say if the whole asset class of crypto, or at least the big ones, are in a positive move or a negative move, and I can also quantify that that asset class, what's moving as an asset class. So then I can measure my risk, and then I can measure up my scale up on any positions I want to take on. Da da da. This does not exist with Forex. This is another big challenge of Forex. And the only definitive way I could find ways to really do well in Forex, I should say well, but decent in Forex is off of calendar events and betting those calls and how it impacts the particular pairs you're going to trade. So a lot of it's driven by fundamental. Yeah, these guys here. Yeah. Somewhat, yeah. And even if they don't, I'm using a I'm using weighted volume. So in our case with this, yeah, here, the ones that I'm using of Bitcoin, it's just refreshing right now. So if I'm using Bitcoin, I know the largest coin out there is Bitcoin, and then Ethereum's number 2. So using that volume against all the other coins, I'm able to come up with this weighted average plus the price move or price direction and get this overall weighted average of those 5 coins. And because of that, it's very predictable to know which direction overall the crypto market will go in. I can't do that with Forex. You would hope so, but I haven't seen it. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen it. I mean, as I said, the only way to trade, from what I see, predictably, is off of calendar events. That's the only way. Because it's really hard to say there's a metric in Forex, a big 6 pair that shows based upon volume, based upon the price direction for that particular pair, and then get a general consensus of the overall risk parameter of direction of the overall Forex market as well as the actual price move as well. I haven't been able to figure that out. I'm sure somebody's come up with something. I just don't know it. And that's part of the problem. But this way with crypto, it's one of the ways I'm able to predictably measure direction of crypto. So right now, as an example, here's the moves of crypto. So I know that these moves are very small and it's very tight, and I log it as well. I log this metric, this weighted average metric, every 10 minutes. I actually put up a video on this earlier today, and I can tell the current status of what crypto's doing. And if I know my system's not going to make money at this weighted average metric, it's not going to trade. It's not going to take on any risky trade at all, because generally the market's not there. The momentum's not in the market to take on any positions. This little bot has only taken on one trade today, and if the markets are really strong, this bot will scale up its orders per day, and usually I can get a 4 or 5% daily return because of that, because of this one metric. But as I said, this sort of thing does not appear to exist at all in in forex, and that's why I just rather invest based upon the calendar, and just set up the trades in my case MotiveWave, and you know base it on that. So a lot of the trading in CFD and forex is based on discretion, not automation. I mean, I can set up the trade and put a stop loss and a take profit and all that. I can do that, but the judgment call on what makes me take that really a bet is driven by what I'm showing here, based upon these harmonic scans, because they're fairly reliable. They've worked for a good couple of months now for both forex and CFD, as I said at the beginning of this webinar. Does that make sense for you? I wish I could give you a better answer. I'm just being honest from what I'm seeing. No problem. Anybody else got any questions? Who's got a question? Anybody? If not, I can give it a tear down. If just as an answer, I'll put this. Just type it up in the chat if you don't want to say anything. What kind of topics you want covered next week in the realm of Forex and CFD? Anybody have any things they'd like to see as a topic? And then just type it up in the chat. If not, we'll leave it at that. Because I've been using crypto for a while. It's been fairly successful. I can show you the results so far on the bot here. So I have a bot that's been performed. So what I'm about to show you is the daily returns. So it takes a little bit of systems. So the markets have been really getting hammered lately in the last 2 days. So I've had a 4.98% daily return a few days ago, actually a week ago, 1.93, and then the last 3 days it's been profitable. But you can see these are the number of trades, total number of trades. So when the markets get really tight, the trading goes down because the risk is there on the downside. So as a result, it will not take those trades, as opposed to here or here where the markets were really good. If that makes sense. This trade right here did really well. I have a daily target. And another thing about any type of trading, I would just shoot for a 1% daily target. Once your system gets that 1%, just shut down the system and restart again the next trading day. That's a really simple but highly effective risk management metric that works really well. So in this case, as soon as the system was turned on at midnight, the very first position it picked up within 10 minutes was this 4.9%, and it shut down, held on in the position, and it was done for the day. One position, done. And meanwhile, I could have other positions like 30, and it will struggle with a 50% win ratio to get 1.69. So it all depends upon the market. But again, this is for crypto. But if I want to build something like this, I have to see this weighted moving average of some kind to be able to gauge overall the market for forex, which is pretty tough to do. Anybody else got any questions at all? Anybody? Okay, I'll do it going once, twice, 3 times. If not, I'll give it a tear down. I can answer any questions about crypto right now. Anybody? So I'll do it going once, twice, 3 times. And we'll give this one a wrap. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you got some use out of this. Let me know if this judgment call on these harmonic scans work in MotoWave. This is standard edition, or sorry, you can get that in the standard edition of MotoWave if you want it. And it can work against a lot of the popular brokers out there. Oanda, I believe FXCM supported. I can't remember half the connections for MotoWave, but and here I can show you the different brokers that MotoWave supports. Let's see here. Just come under connections. It's at motowave.com, and you can see all the different brokers. There's a lot of crypto support now. I talked about this guy for Forex and options. Coinbase Pro if you want the crypto. So we have forex.com, FXCM, Gain, IB, as I said, Oanda, and some of the other big ones. A TradeStation, TD Ameritrade's included in there if you want. So it's pretty good. That's about it. Anybody got any further comments, parting words? I'll do it going once, twice, 3 times. If not, we're done, I guess. Okay, I'll do it going once, going twice, going 3 times. Thanks for watching. I'll come up with some other themes. If you know, you got my email address via the Meetup or the Facebook if you want to see something different. We'll call it a day. Thanks for watching, and thanks for coming on out. Have yourselves a good day. Just end it now. Have a good day.